Hey guys, I want to talk about a trade we did last week on rmti. This is one of my favorite patterns, and so for those of you guys that trade with us in the chat room or have seen me trade, you know that I love to play momentum stocks. Whether it's a $5 stock, a $100 stock, doesn't matter. But one of the things that we're always trying to do is get into stocks where there is a momentum and a possibility for a stock to continue on with its trend. And so this has been really a hot stock all year, you know, stock that ran from $3 all the way up to 12. And so after this breakout from its flag pattern, this stock has come all the way back down and starts to consolidate around that $9 area. One of the things that we look for when we're looking at stocks is there a line in the sand, somewhere in an area that we believe can hold. If the trade goes against us, we can get out of it very quickly. And so once this $9 area starts to hold, really it's about timing the trade so that we're in it at the right time without having to sit on it too long, where our risk is really minimized. And so we move to shorter term time frames to do that and really line up the trade. And so what you can see start to happen here is, you know, the stock has been really just basing in kind of that $9 range, and we can tell here this kind of this 940 mark is really going to be a trigger here. And so once we start to test this area, well, when we finally take out 940, I add a couple thousand shares of this bad boy for a trade. Well, with the stop under support, so, you know, I'll risk maybe 10-15 cents on this, you know, something small. So as this stock starts to spike, you know, as is my custom, I always like to sell a few off. And so into the 960s, I sell off just 1,000 shares of this bad boy and put a stop at my buy price. And so you can see what happens here. It comes back and we start the flag pattern here. And so I actually re-add my position and for a secondary run. And so, you know, as we spike up here again, you know, into the 980s, we let off a partial position while still holding on to our core, right? We're kind of building a position for the bigger run while trading around some. And so I've got still half my original position, and the stock comes back and really starts to flatten out here. When you have a momentum stock that's starting to break on the daily chart, you know, when you start to see these type of consolidations, that's a real bullish thing. And so as the stock comes back and starts to break out of range, right, we can add more shares as our risk is really limited, as we have a line in the sand of where the stock goes against us, we can get out. And so as the stock starts to come out of range, we actually double up on the stock in terms of all the shares we have and start to play the run. And so here we go, you know, back in the 960s, I add actually 2,000 more shares. And so, you know, I've got about two positions and some change on this thing. And so now you start to really see the acceleration in the stock, right? And so as the stock is going up, I'm selling out its thing, you know, 1,000 at a time, 500 shares into this pop. And I still keep a part of my core position as, right, this is just a stock that can run for a couple days. We're not necessarily just going to try to take 20 cents out of this thing. We know our patterns on the daily charts, and we believe that if you get the right pattern, that you can go for an extended amount of time. So now it's about really just managing your position. So you can see what happens here. It kind of comes down, pops up, and so we start to flag. We start to make a flag pattern here, end of the day. And so just for fun, I did add another 1,000 shares right at 1050 as to see if it made a kind of end of day run into the next day. And so as it popped up here, I sold out of everything into the 1070s. And so a pretty good trade. We made a couple $1,000, and now it's on watch for, I could have held it overnight, but it's a biotech stock, so I don't like holding them overnight for too long. I'd rather just add them the next day. And so you can see what happens here is, you know, the stock gaps up, right? It opens up really strong for some reason. So it really just fires up here and then, you know, it comes down. And so when this level holds, right, when this level holds 11, you know, I add 4,000 shares here with a really tight stop as we've kind of tested this level and it holds. And so right back at it, you know, we're right back into this thing. You know, now we've got the momentum continue from the previous day. And I played the same way. You know, as this stock starts to flag, we add more shares, and literally we're scaling out of this thing. And then, you know, we added really one last batch right there at 1180 as we sold off a good chunk of our position from 11 into this spike towards 12. And then we got one last flag pattern here, and I'm still keeping part of my core position. And right, you're just playing the end of the day run. And so I sell off half into this big spike, and once the stock starts to reverse, you know, I sell out of the rest of it at flat pretty much on this last bet because we start breaking support. But all in all, you know, this was a really incredible run going from 9 to 12.20 and just really a day and a half. But that's what happens when you get these nice momentum stocks. You know, you can really make powerful moves if you get the right pattern. You know, people always want to buy the stocks when they're chasing up, but really sometimes the best time is to get these things after they have a short-term correction, as you can get your risks much well defined and it's just coiled up for a nice run. So that's it for now, guys. You know, let me know if you have any questions on this, and I can definitely answer you guys. Take care.